Get up.
Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed and welcome to today. Today is Monday, March the 31st, 2025. I'm Pearson Boyne. Wonderful having you company. Thank you so much for waking up bright and early to keep us company. I notice it's clearing even and getting brighter even earlier now. That means, boy, we're into that time of the year when we'll be having lots of sunshine. But it's good to have you company indeed. Some sprinkle of rains for those of you in that particular area, but I love the rain, so it doesn't bother me one iota. So how are you doing today? Thank you for joining us on our streams on Facebook, YouTube, and our website, cbc.bb. Always wonderful to have you company. Remember, talk between yourselves, but talk to us as well. If you have a question or a comment or anything like that, just post it and we'll see it. Also, thank you so much for also thinking of us when you have an idea or if you know of something or someone who you think should be featured on the show, that you should send us an email. Our email address is right there on your screen. It's morninbarbados@cbc.bb. morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And a big thank you for being partners with us indeed. Always remember to share the show. Tell someone else about us. Let them come along to have some of the fun that we have every single morning right here on CBC TV8. They promised me they shall be up at 6 o'clock. This is Christopher and Michael Birch. Both boys up, get some breakfast, get ready for school, boys. But have a great morning and a great day at school indeed. We had a wonderful weekend, the two little boys and me. And so I really want to wish them a beautiful today, as always, a very successful week as they prepare to head to school. We have an outstanding riddle as well, because I want to get your brains cracking bright and early in the morning. So what's that riddle? I hope you did not Google, but you used your brain to try to figure out what the answer could be. The question remains, and it's still to be answered by you by calling me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. So many of you have been meeting me trying to figure this out, and I like it. I like it bad. I like the fact that we've got you stumped. The question still is, what do you call a guy who bows down before the king? What do you call a guy who bows down before the king? If you don't get this right today, I promise you I'll give you the answer. Promise. But you have to try. Try first. Don't wait for my answer. 228-5562 or 228-5563. What do you call a guy who bows down before the king? Call and let me know your answer. Can't wait to hear from you. Also coming up today, by the way, is a business and entrepreneurship coach who will be joining me in just a little while to sit with us to look at ways to, offering ways to help young and emerging female entrepreneurs to find a stress-free financial success. Is that possible? And how do you do so? She'll join us to talk a little bit about that. We continue our look again at diversity, equity, and inclusion in education, when two ladies who co-authored that book, Educated Rise, Voice of Change Anthology, will join us to take a look through that and to navigate the ways in which we can offer diversity, equity, and inclusion in education. Two of the young women who have benefited from the Women's Day workshop will join us this morning. We will hear from them in what ways they've benefited and what now will they do from that benefit indeed. And how do you kill the culture vulture? And this is not to be bad, but how do you kill the culture vulture? The lady who delivered that and will join us to tell us what that's about. Regathering in St. Thomas ends, and so the regathering in St. Joseph begins. We'll get to meet some of the folks from St. Joseph today who will tell us what to expect in April as the island continues to gather all year long. And a woman who has successfully completed that solo row across the Atlantic to Barbados will join us. She'll tell us all about her trials and travels and all the things that happened on that journey and what was her mental disposition as she made her way all of those miles from the Atlantic, across the Atlantic to Barbados, India. I can't wait to talk to her in just a little while. But the riddle of the day remains, what do you call a guy who bows down before the king? What do you call him? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Interrupt me, call me, and let me know. On this day in history, now let's do that for just a little bit. Do you back up your files? Do you back up all of your work? Do you back up at all? Or do you just simply save, shut the laptop down or the computer down and move on and think it'll be there forever? I will constantly be able to access it. Well, just want to remind you that today is World Backup Day. Perhaps that's a day you take some time to either buy a hard drive, buy a memory stick as we call it, and get it done. Back up your work, because there comes a time when systems will fail. And when they fail, you become frustrated. And you become frustrated because you did a foolish thing. You didn't back up. So take some time today to back up. Back up your data, back up your work, back up, back up, back up. Also, yesterday, the 30th in the UK, was Mothering Sunday. And I'm sure you saw all of your family and friends from the United Kingdom saying, oh, happy Mother's Day, all of those kinds of things. And you're wondering, well, hold on. Why did that escape you? It didn't escape you because in the UK, on the 30th of March, they do Mothering Sunday, Mothering Day, and it's celebrated on the fourth Sunday of Lent. So now you know that is how it's done. On the fourth Sunday of Lent is Mothering Day in the UK. And despite sharing the name Mother's Day in the UK, they do not share the origins. That started because the church is considered to be the mother of the society. That's the child of the church. We become the child of the church, celebrated since the Middle Ages in the UK, Ireland, and some of the Commonwealth countries, the fourth Sunday of Lent. So yesterday was Mothering Sunday. Thought I had a picture to show you. Now, this one I think will fascinate you tremendously because you do recall Harrison Point. Do you know where Harrison Point is in St. Lucie and why that was set up? Well, the United States Naval Facility officially closed at Harrison Point on the 1st of April. It was commissioned on the 1st of April 1957. On the 31st of March it closed. Its purpose, listen to this, was to operate an underwater listening system designed to track Soviet submarines during the Cold War as part of the chain of sound surveillance systems or listening ports. Now, the system is said to have been so sensitive that it could even detect Russian bombers flying thousands of feet in the air as the tips of those propellers reached supersonic speeds and produced some sonic booms. That system, arrays in Barbados, reportedly accomplished the amazing feat of detecting the first Soviet nuclear submarine to enter the Greenland-Iceland-UK gap thousands of miles away in 1962. It was a listening system there. Wow. Did not know. Did you know? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. And thanks to the Barbados Museum and Historical Society for sharing us some of the facts. I'm my producer, Nadia Foss. I told you she's a genius at being a detective, but that is what it is. Anybody who has an answer to the question yet? Why? What do you call a guy who bows before the king? Anyone at all? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. I am guessing a servant.
You're guessing a servant.
Mm-hmm.
What's your name?
Samantha.
Samantha from?
St. Michael.
Samantha of St. Michael is guessing that the answer is a servant. You called the guy who bows before the king a servant.
Yes.
That is not right, Samantha.
I was guessing.
I know, but you tried. Thank you very much. I hope you had a lovely weekend, right?
You as well.
Very good, Samantha. You're still in bed?
Kind of.
No. Either you're in bed or you're not in bed. So it is kind of like your feet are on the ground.
I actually sitting down on the bed.
Right, so your feet are on the ground. You're sitting off the bed, on the edge of the bed, and so you're preparing to get up, right?
I got up already and had breakfast and stuff.
I'll come back in the bed. Mistake, because the alarm will mess you up now. But nonetheless, Samantha, thank you very much, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Likewise, you have a great today. 228-5562 or 228-5563. What do you call a guy who bows before the king? Get it right. You only have today to get it right. 228-5562. My production crew knows what I mean. 228-5562 or 63. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, sir. How are you doing? Hello?
I'm from Thomas. My name is Errol.
What's your first name again?
Errol.
Errol from St. Thomas. All right, Errol from St. Thomas. What's the answer?
His subject.
Subject.
Yes.
So if I bow before the king, I'm the king's subject.
Yes, sir.
And you are wrong, Errol.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Errol of St. Thomas. Wrong, indeed. If we can, just take one more call before we get into the meat of the matter today. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Call me. No. Morning. Hello.
Good morning. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. And you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Who's calling?
Marcia,
Hi, Marcia from?
St. Michael.
Marcia of St. Michael. Marcia of St. Michael, something tells me you've taken the time to do your homework. Am I right?
I think so.
Now, let's see. I have a red pen or a blue pen. Which color do you want me to use right now?
The blue.
The blue one. The blue one represents right, and the red one represents wrong. So let me hear your answer.
The guy.
The what?
The guy.
I didn't get that word.
The guy. G-U-Y.
B-U-Y?
G-U-Y.
Oh, the guy. As in Guyana, the guy.
Yes, please.
No, Marcia, red pen on you, big X. Big X, Marcia. But thank you for trying. Let me give the answer because I want to give another one.
Go on.
So the answer for this one today is kneel. You call the guy who bows before the king kneel. N-E-I-L, kneel. Or K-N-E-E-L, kneel. Don't blame the messenger. Do not shoot the messenger. Do not abuse the messenger. The answer is kneel. So now you know. Have some fun about yourselves today at work. Have some fun. Discuss it. Put it to someone at work and see if they know the answer. What do you call the guy who bows before the king? Kneel. N-E-I-L, kneel. That for you. All right, let's get cracking today. Let's meet a woman who is in herself a business and entrepreneurship coach who has a focus on elevating Caribbean women entrepreneurs. And so that is her focus, and that's our focus right now as we introduce you to Shelly-Ann Aki-Solomon. Shelly-Ann, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I see the last two words just behind you say, do it. Is that your commission to women?
Yes. Yes. Just do it. Too many of us procrastinate.
Yeah, just do it. So many people procrastinate. Now, you have a very special interest in elevating the Caribbean woman entrepreneur. Why that particular focus?
Well, firstly, because I am Caribbean, so I am her.
Mm-hmm.
So I know all of the challenges, all of the setbacks, all of the belief barriers that we have to break, and some of the hurdles we have to jump over. I also know that we are very intelligent, we are very creative, innovative, and we have a lot to offer. So sometimes we have all of those traits, but we don't have the support or the tools or the guidance that we need that's easily accessible to us to help us to bring those things forth. So my job or my goal is to help Caribbean women to accomplish their full potential confidently.
Love it. I love the smile that goes along with it as well. And so, what we're talking about financial success, oftentimes the woman thinks it's intuitive, it's the thing she has to do, it costs nothing. But you're saying, no, hold on, ladies, for just a moment. Because the thing you do can also be the thing that brings you financial benefit. But how do you do so to be successful in it? How do you divorce yourself from that pull that says, I'm maternal, I have to do this, but at the same time say, but I'm a businesswoman, I have to do this way?
Well, I'd like to say this. I believe that when women achieve financial flexibility, stability, and freedom, it gives us options. And once we start to internalize and embrace that fact, then the things that we think might be holding us back, we start to move those things out of the way. So yes, we are maternal, but yes, we are also individuals who want to pursue careers and goals, and you know, we have things that we want to do as well. Mm-hmm. So we would start to think about, for me personally, what it is I wanted to be an example. I have 2 girl children, and I wanted to be an example of you can be that maternal person, but you can also be that innovative, creative, productive woman.
And that's important, to be able to know that you can have both personalities working as one and not feel in any way as though one has to subsume the other. So
it does sometimes, huh?
It does, I know. I know it does, and it's for that reason I asked you that particular question, because oftentimes the guilt hits and you lose focus for just a moment, but you also lose intention for just a moment. And so we want to be able to I'm not sure what happened, but we'll try to get her back indeed. Shelly-Ann Aki-Solomon, who is a business and entrepreneurship coach, to continue talking to us a little bit about why it is important for women to understand their worth, understand their value, and how you can reach financial success, indeed, and not feel guilty about it. Not to feel as though you're in a man's world competing against everything else and all of the other systems that feel at times as though they're against you. So we're hoping to connect with her one more time to share with you some techniques and tools that you might want to employ as a woman entrepreneur to make yourself far more financially successful. And sometimes the bills can be quite daunting. And when the bills pop in, you make yourself vulnerable to all sorts of other things, a temptation to touch. And so that's the kind of thing I think I'd want to discuss with her when we hopefully get a reconnection with her. She is indeed one of those who is so driven by it. She looks at starting small dreams, redefining, possibilities and aligning your life with purpose. She's also very, very much into building brands for success. And so we'll try to connect with her again to try to get that going. And as we work on that, I'll take a quick break and we'll come right back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome to St. Thomas.
I've seen a lot of places around the world and far apart. But deep inside, there's only one that's closest to my heart. Wherever I may lay my head, no matter where I roam, Barbados will always be home. I love the open spaces. What a feeling to be free. I see I'm smiling faces. Oh, they mean the world to me. A place with friends, our family. A place to stand alone. Barbados will always be home. Barbados, yeah. Barbados, Barbados will always be home.
The Prime Minister's Office welcomes you to the St. Thomas Ideas Forum, Wednesday, March 26 at 6:30 p.m. at the Rock Hall, Freedom Park. This is your chance to come together and share your ideas for the future of St. Thomas and Barbados. Submit your ideas to ideasforum@barbados.gov.bb or find us on WhatsApp at 256-4646. Come out and let's gather and share our ideas for better St. Thomas and Barbados.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 29530, First Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Holligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club, we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Did you know that there is an acronym called PASS, which makes it very easy to use a fire extinguisher? P, which stands for pull the pin. A, which means aim at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. And another S, which means sweep from left to right. This allows you to effectively extinguish a fire.
You are now watching the best of Crosstalk.
And I asked my father, Daddy, what kind of parent do you think I'll be? And he just laughed and he said, Justin, you're not going to know what kind of parent you're going to be until you get children. My official title is aircraft maintenance engineer. So that is just a really fancy title for the guy that keeps your aircraft on the ground delayed and you're probably cursing in the cabin while he tries to fix your plane. I always tell people, the old people are saying, it's better to be born lucky than rich, yeah? And I have been the prime example of that. I've never had much, but I've always been lucky, yeah?
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you for being patient, everyone. We're heading to 24 minutes after 6 o'clock. We have been able to re-establish connection with Shelly-Ann Aki-Solomon, who is a business and entrepreneurship coach. And we're talking about creating the environment where financial stress is relieved for women entrepreneurs so she can now live a stress-free financial life and really reach success in doing so. You're back.
Yes.
You manage your stress very well. You still have your smile on, and that's fantastic indeed.
Yes.
Now,
your team is great as well.
Yeah, these things can happen, but that's all part of life as a female entrepreneur. These things happen, and you're part of your teachings. How do you overcome that one, and how do you live to make it financially successful for you?
Could you repeat the question?
Managing situations as they occur as a woman who leads her business, and so that she can have that stress-free financial existence. And so as situations occur, she must be able to navigate those situations so that she sees the success and create that stress-free life that she's so jealously yearning for.
Well, first, let me just, I like to keep things real, but more realistic. Once you're an entrepreneur, stress is something that you will have to deal with all the time. I think what happens is after a couple of experiences dealing with stress, you manage it better. You learn that things will work out so that you don't dive into depression or you don't give it all away and give up and stuff like that. You start to bounce back. So I always tell female entrepreneurs, as you deal with stress as an entrepreneur, your bounce back game improves. So we will always have stress to deal with, but the way we deal with it is what makes the difference. If we bounce back quickly and we stay in a positive mind frame, we will get further faster, because that means we're not wasting time wallowing in self-pity or in worry or stressing ourselves out unnecessarily, because we know that the answer is to move to strategy, to move to action, to move to solution. So that's where we throw our energy and our focus. But stress will always be there. How you manage the stress makes the difference.
What does financial stability look like for the female entrepreneur?
Well, that is an independent thing. Everybody has a different representation or picture of what financial freedom looks like to them. For some people, it's being able to pay all their bills. For some people, it's being able to acquire property and to have financial freedom to do anything that they want. So, with every woman that I deal with, when they express what financial freedom means to them, it has a different picture. For me, financial freedom simply means that I am able to live life fully and be able to take care of the important things and not be worried or bogged down by the basic bills. Being able to make sure that your children are secure. My husband and I, these were conversations we had when we were in our 20s, how our children will go to school. We don't want them to have bills. We want to have our own home. We want to pay off for the home by a certain time. We want to travel the world. We want to travel the world together. So financial freedom is dependent on what are your life goals, because if money pays or funds the lifestyle. So I would always tell women, first identify what is the life design you want, and then you build a business to fund the life design.
That's interesting. But at the same time, she must put in safeguards, because while you're building, there's the bridging loan and then there's the mortgage and all those kinds of things. You still have to manage all of that, and life throws you curveballs as it goes. So managing the moment by moment so that the longer term goal is achieved, what advice would you give to her so that when the speed bumps hit, she finds herself still comfortable and stressless?
Well, the only advice I give to women is always have a fund. I call it the possibility fund. I don't like to say emergency fund, because I feel when we say emergency fund, we're calling emergencies to ourselves. So I call it the possibility fund. And you make putting money in that fund or investing a priority, and that money doesn't belong to you. If you see it as it doesn't belong to you, you're not going to keep dipping in it to get a purse or a bag or take a trip. That money is in case of any eventualities, whether it be an opportunity or it might be a crisis. You can comfortably go in there and take out the money and not worry about living expenses being affected or being stressed by thinking, well, now I have nothing, I'm living in lack. So I would always tell women, ensure that you have a possibility fund and you're always pouring income into it as a priority.
How easy is that to do, or how difficult is that to do?
It is as difficult as you make it. I say that, let me just say that, because people say, well, everybody have different amounts of money, right? But I started with just putting $100 into that account. So it really is developing the discipline of put it in the money consistently. Even if you say, I'm going to put $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000, right? If you cannot afford to put in the figure that you committed to, still put in something instead of nothing. So it is as hard or as easy as you make it. Don't make it emotional, as my husband says. It's transactional, right? So you say you can't put 1,000, but you could put 100. You can't put 100, but then put 50. You can't put 50, then put 25. And if you can't put any this month, then make sure and work on putting some next month. So don't stress out about it, but make sure that you are committed and disciplined about consistently buffing up that account, because it's important. And I know that a lot of people felt the punch of COVID-19 when lots of things were shut down around the Caribbean, and our businesses some doors were closed and some sales were slow. And it's during those times that account would give you that comfort and that stability and that security to ride out that tough time and not go into debt, because the people who had those types of accounts, they are not digging themselves out of debt. A lot of people are still climbing out of debt. Those people are continuing because they had that income or those investments put down there to help to carry them through the tough times. So it's very important. Never think that because you're having a nice ride today, that something cannot happen tomorrow. Always think ahead. And don't wait, for something to happen then to say, oh my God.
Yes. You're talking about creating a habit, a way of doing things going forward that's consistent but shows result as well. And so from what your experience is, what kinds of success stories have you had when people implement the Shelly-Ann method?
Oh, there are many stories. I can give you one particular story where one of my clients, she had an ill parent, and she was the only surviving child, and she had to leave working for a while, actually a year, and she used the possibility fund not only to fund her living expenses but also to help support her mom. But she had been doing it for 4 years, so she had a good bit of money inside of there to help her. But she started off with zero when she met me, and then she was so grateful that she was able to have that money to help with her mom. Now, her mom eventually died, but she got a year of intimate, personal, close time with her mom and not worried about, leaving her mother there alone. So there are other people who use it to make down payments for homes, who weren't qualifying for homes. And then there are others who were able to take their first paid in full vacation. I mean, that one sounds simple, but for some people, a lot of people aren't able to take a vacation paid in full. You're always worrying about having to clear that credit card after. So to me, that's a win.
That's fantastic. And so it starts today, folks, ladies, in particular women entrepreneurs. It starts today. How do you live that stress-free financial life and reach success at the same time? Here's as simple as contacting Shelly-Ann Solomon. And how can people contact you to get more coaching from you as they make that journey?
You can get me at info@shellyacque.com, or that's an email, or you can find me on any of the social platforms at Shelly Acque or simply Shelly TNT. I'm on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. So anywhere you go, just search my name and you will find me there.
Easy indeed. And so she can help you achieve the success that you're looking for. She's also helping you to achieve the stress-less life that you're looking for, and particularly for women businesses as well. It's difficult at times because you're managing the family, you're managing yourself, you're managing the business, you're doing all of these things. But the Possibility Fund, and can you imagine the Possibility Tribe all working together to achieve just one thing, stress-free living indeed. And so Shelly-Ann Solomon is the woman to reach out to. Just tap into her today and build on those resources. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We wish you every success, and as you will continue to do it.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome indeed. Have a good morning indeed. Morning Barbados comes back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The clock as we turn our attention to diversity, equity and inclusion in education. We started this discussion a couple of weeks ago, and so we shall continue this morning with the ladies who have co-authored the book Educator Rise, Voices of Change Anthology Volume 1. And so with me this morning is Chanel Williams. She's an educator. She's also a specialist in special needs education. And with her is Dr. Kira Longmire, who looks at early childhood education, leadership and substance abuse counseling. She also has a mantra that says leveling the playing field for equitable learning opportunities in education is a modus by which she operates. Ladies, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Good morning.
Good morning indeed.
Good
Chanel,
morning.
good to see you again. A Barbadian, you've taught here, you're teaching there in New York, and so you've been a part of the process to putting this book together because you believe in special needs. And I want to look at that specifically with you because, you know, for a lot of us in this month of March, we've been looking at the needs of the disabled and finding ways to make sure that they are included in everything that we do. And so your focus in the book looks at diversity, equity, and inclusivity is so central to all of it. Talk to me a little bit about what you do there in New York that really brings out your belief that there is a need for diversity, equity, and inclusivity.
All right. So when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and when we talk about special needs, the two really come together because we are looking at helping children and helping students to meet the requirements in order to graduate. So what that looks like as a special education teacher, I would be responsible for creating what is called an individual education plan. And that individual educational plan is informed by the assessments from the psychologist and the social worker, and also the teacher reports and the progress reports, assessments from the parent, and also assessments from the student as well. So using all of that data, I have to create that IEP. And then that IEP talks about the supports that the child will get in the classroom and inside the school. And that looks like in New York, things like occupational therapy, speech therapy, guidance counseling, and many other supports. It might mean that the child requires transportation services. So busing is an area that they would, that help would be given to the child. So when we talk again about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we are talking about not only doing things for special education, but creating cultural responsive education, creating inclusive education, creating equitable education. Because if we are going to level the playing field, it means that everybody must have equal opportunity to be the best that they can be. And the way we do that is by differentiating and by changing and modifying the curriculum or the materials to assist the student.
And so, Dr. Longmire, this is where you come in because Chanel just used some words that you're passionate about, leveling and creating equity and those kinds of things. But equity does not mean equal. It just means what?
Well, equity means that giving the child what they need specifically towards them. Is a lot of people use equity and equality interchangeably, but equity is specifically this child and seeing what this child needs to be successful within the classroom. And as an educator with over 10 years experience in education, I have seen so many times where children learning was hindered due to not having equitable learning opportunities. So when I had this chance to co-author, it was just very a passion for me because I know how it is, especially with special education, dealing with children who do IEPs. You know, they're typically delayed and not having equitable learning opportunities that hinder their growth. So I'm all about having equitable learning opportunities in early child education.
And so I suppose you're also saying to me that the classroom setting does not have to be adjusted significantly to be able to do just that.
Not necessarily. It can be, but you can add, learning materials in there. You can add audio in there just specifically for certain students. So I believe it can be inclusive to everyone just by learning, place small opportunities in there. So I believe that it can make small adjustments or huge adjustments depending on your learning style as a teacher.
Chanel, you wanted to say something?
Yes, no. I was going to say that it really looks different based on the classroom setup and what is really going on in the classroom. So many times it is just giving the child that support, like Kira was saying. So for instance, a child might have an issue, an auditory issue. So providing those hearing aids. A child might have might be blind or have a visual impairment. So providing that braille machine, a child might have fine motor issues. So providing the laptop so that they don't have to write. And there are some other supports that you can do in everyday teaching, like checklists, graphic organizers, timelines. There's so many different things that you can do as a teacher, and being honest, it's not taxing on you as much as it was before, because a lot of these things are online. And I know, Pearson, you have been telling people not to use ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is a teacher's friend when it comes to differentiating. Of course, you have to check and make sure that things are correct, but ChatGPT makes it so much easier to create the materials, and there are a lot of different AI tools as well that you can use, and it's all about modifying and differentiating. So maybe the child is not an auditory learner, but they're a visual learner, so you provide that visual that visual, the word is skipping me right now, but that visual for the child. So they're not only hearing, but they're seeing as well. Maybe in a test, the child is not a good writer, so then you provide some person to write for the child, and they would verbally give their answers. So there are many different ways and many different things that can happen in the classroom, but it all goes down to making an assessment of the students, looking at the IEPs, and also providing the supports for the teachers.
Dr. Long, while your lips are telling me you want to say something, you're bursting at the edge to jump right in. Go ahead.
Yes, I totally agree with what she has said. Like, I have done it in the classroom as well. And not only does that create equitable learning opportunities, it creates a sense of community, respect, and inclusion for students. And that's what we need inside the classroom so they can thrive to be a diverse version. A lot of students, unfortunately, are not thriving in the classroom because they don't feel included. They don't feel heard or respected per se. And we need that sense of community. So when you have a child that have an issue with hearing, and you place audio inside your classroom, or if they need, if they sensory learn, so you provide sensory activities, that gives them a sense of like, hey, they notice me, I'm respected, I matter. And once you start building a solid, healthy relationship with children inside your classroom, that's when they learn to take to a different level of success. So absolutely, I'm totally in agreement.
What I'm hearing you ladies describe does not require any huge structural change to the classroom at all, other than perhaps just a little more pay attention to the differences of your child and to be able to accommodate them accordingly. And so this book is written to give a guide to the teacher, and I suppose to the different ministers of education, into what's possible through diversity, equity, and inclusivity in education. So Chanel, talk to me a little bit, because you've had the Barbadian experience. You know how we do it here, and so now being transposed into the New York experience as well. You're smiling. What advice would you want to give to our educators here that is found in the book?
I have many words, person, but.
Just say the nice one, just the nice ones.
Well, growing up in Barbados and going through the system in Barbados, I would say that having now been in New York, it could have been much easier. And we are lacking not only teacher resources, but teacher training as well. Up until today, I'm not sure if we really have the IEP structure in place. Also, I think we need to look at development of the whole child. I think a lot of times the emphasis is on the academics. I hear a lot of talk about education reform and abolishing the 11 plus and so on, which is fine. because in every system you have to look to change and to make things better. But if you abolish the 11 plus, what are you replacing it with? And then if you want to really look seriously at education reform and special needs education, then a conversation needs to be had in terms of the setup of the classroom, because to my mind, there is still only maybe one teacher per 20 to 30 students. We still have the teachers in Barbados still have to buy a lot of the resources that they use in the classroom. If we are talking about changing the 11 plus, now how are we going to place the children? And then we have the conversation of teacher salary has to be involved as well, because if you are going to elevate your system to the point where when it includes diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you're doing all these things looking at the whole child, then you need to then train your teachers, I would say up to the master level or the doctoral level. Therefore, the whole idea of salary has to come into play. And also in our system, I would like to see more pushing services as opposed to the parents, the burden being on the parents, because it is the sentiment of it takes a village, and therefore it means that you're not only looking at the child in the school, but also helping the parents. One thing I like about this system is that there's something called parent counseling. So the parents actually have to come into the school and have sessions with the guidance counselor and do different activities and so on. And so I find when you have those pushing services, not only with the student, but with the parents, you are able to build a better community, and you also help to develop the whole child, because it's not only about academics, but it's about social and emotional health, psychological health, etc.
Thank you very much for that, Chanel. You know, Dr. Longmire, are these the kinds of subjects that are up for discussion in Cincinnati where you are? You know, are these the things that people are talking about as it relates to education?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is some of the many subjects that the Higher Department of Education workforce discuss all the time when they discussing education reform, specifically special education reform. You know, what steps can they take to ensure inclusivity is within the classroom with children with special needs or accommodations? And just to piggyback off Ms. Chanel conversation, I absolutely do understand it and agree with her. You know, if you're taking away something, what is the replacement? And does that benefit the children? And also, too, I discussed in my chapter in reference to DEI that teachers are typically not effectively trained when it comes to how to implement DEI inside their classroom. So even sometimes they feel at a loss as well. So it's a huge discussion that can be discussed all day long. And I'm just, as an educator, I just want to make sure that as an advocate for children, that whatever transformation that does take place in the education system, it benefits all children.
Indeed so. And so the book is called Educator Rise, and you're giving voice to the question of whether or not we are in our spaces providing enough diversity, opportunities for diversity, equity, and inclusivity as well. And so where can we get a copy of the book, Chanel?
So you can contact me on any of the social media handles. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Chanel Williams. So you contact me directly to get the book, and I believe it is similar for Kira.
Kira, is that the case? How can we contact you for those watching globally, because they perhaps are nearer to you and they want to get a copy very quickly? How can they do so using you as a source?
Absolutely. Just like Chanel, you can contact me through social media platforms such as Facebook, LinkedIn.com, and also through my personal Gmail as well.
It's such an important subject matter indeed, and so you ladies are at the forefront of the change that we're hoping to see in education globally. Generally, the whole push towards diversity, equity and inclusiveness. And so I want to commend you and the other co-authors indeed for putting this all together from your vast experience so that we can all learn about how we can, and be a lot, not just learn, but be a lot more sensitive to what is needed to help our children aspire to be and to achieve their best selves. And so I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on Mornin Barbados.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome indeed. You're welcome. You're welcome. Chanel Williams and Dr. Kira Longmire, co-authors of the book Educator Rise, Voices of Inclusivity. And so let's raise our voices. Let's join in the chorus to bring about just what we're talking about here. Diversity, equity and inclusiveness. Mornin Barbados comes back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart and experience General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and feel his love. Greater love.
Welcome to St. Thomas.
I've seen a lot of places around the world and far apart. But deep inside, there's only one that's closest to my heart. Wherever I may lay my head, no matter where I roam, Barbados will always be home. I love the open spaces. What a morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 6 minutes now to go to 7 o'clock. We're having a little mini BSAT competition going on here right now as we're joined by two of the ladies young ladies who've won scholarships at the I'm a Girl big conference they had recently. And with them is one of the donors to it as well. But we'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to give you the question of the day for you now. There's another riddle to go. And I asked the ladies in a moment ago, let's see if you can figure this one out as well. What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? M-I-S-S-I-P-P-I. No, that's not. They were thinking Mississippi. That's not it. So what English word has 3 consecutive double letters? Double letters, one after the other. There are 3 of them. 228-5562 and 228-5563. If you see a little man standing right there over my shoulder. Yeah, you see it? That's not a ghost. That's roll forward. Or technical directors, we make little adjustments as we go. And these boys were, and the other man, you saw a glimpse of a shadow just now. Come into the shadow, Peter. Come into the light. Over here, here. Right, there you go. That's Peter. That's Peter, who's also on the floor with me. So 228-5562 or 228-5563. Now, let's get to it. 2 of these ladies have won at scholarships, indeed, and we're so happy to have with us representing the St. Michael School, Satira Knight. Good morning, Satira. Good morning. Good. And representing Christchurch Foundation, Adenike Watts. Good morning, Adenike. Good morning. Good. And that means the crown to something?
The crown to be cherished.
The crown to be cherished. What a lovely name indeed. And with them is Donor Relations Coordinator with the I Am a Girl NGO, Rayanne Flats. Rayanne, good morning.
Good morning.
You have two wonderful examples of excellence in young ladies. That must make you feel really, really proud.
Of course it does. Of course it does. I'm pleased to see young ladies leading and taking the charge. So we're happy to have them here with us today.
So how did you go about determining that these two young ladies would be scholarship winners?
Okay, so we hosted our International Women's Day workshop, and part of the workshop includes the Roundtable Mentorship Challenge. Of course, before the actual Roundtable Mentorship Challenge, our team, we observed the young ladies throughout the entire day. And during the Roundtable Mentorship Challenge, the girls have the opportunity to write their SMART goals and present their pledges and stuff like that. And then our mentors who are situated at the table will choose one girl per table who they believe shows the most leadership, and from there these 7 girls or these 10 girls will go up and present, and of course then the audience will cheer for the one who they believe deserves the award.
All right. So Satira, when you were told by the mentor you are going to be representing our table, how did that feel?
Well, I was excited but a bit nervous to speak up because naturally I'm a shy girl, but I got the courage to go and speak, and I really did.
So when they said Satira, you were, I'm sure you said, not me, not why me?
No, I was shocked. I was like confused, but it was good.
So talk to me about the experience you had at that table with your fellow colleagues who are all, you know, just benefiting from the exercise. And what did you get?
Well, I was able to step out of my comfort zone and talk to my peers. And they really encouraged me and motivated me. So honestly, when going up to speak, it was really settling. I wasn't as nervous because I was able to interact with all the girls beforehand.
So what did you have to talk about?
Well, I had to set a goal, and my goal was to pass all my CXCs with grade 1s. So that's what I talked about and how I would do it by a deadline.
So now I'm curious, what did you say?
Well,
your parents are watching.
Well, I said I would study every day, go to my lessons, take away all my distractions, social media devices, and just set aside time to really focus on my exams.
And is that true?
Yes, please.
Okay, good. Because I just wanted to make sure that you spoke from a place of truth and not just say the right things at the right time.
No, please.
And so then they determined that you would receive a scholarship. How does that feel?
That was really good because I know it'll be very helpful going forward. So.
What do you want to be eventually once you finish your studies?
An architect.
Really? Why?
Because I love designing houses, floor plans, anything, towns, cities. I love doing that.
You serious?
Yes, please.
So if you had to redesign Bridgetown, what would it look like?
I was talking about that the other day.
Let's go. Let me talk about it now.
Well, I use Bloxburg, and to build houses, and I was actually doing Bridgetown, and it would be not so modern because I know it's a historical place, but I think I could fix it up.
You would move Cape Shepherd? Sorry,
no. I would leave everything but just fix up the structures and everything.
Okay. But don't you feel it's a little congested sometimes?
Not necessarily.
That's your point of view.
Cape Shepherd itself is a big place. I don't
you would leave it just where it is?
Yeah.
Because it's an important landmark for a city. All right. Adenike, now talk to me. Ms. Flat says that you were being observed. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I was just sitting there talking to all the girls, just trying to get friendly with everybody.
Just doing you, right?
Just doing me.
And all the while somebody was watching you.
Yeah.
Now that you know that, what do you think? Is that all right?
Yeah, it's okay to me. I wasn't really studying being mentor because I was even talking to her about my goals and everything in life. So I didn't really think that they were really sitting down there trying to get somebody to go upstage. I wasn't expecting that.
But that's a lesson for life, don't you think? Because sometimes you go through life and we're not even aware the impact we're making on others. One or that other people are really watching us to learn from us as well. So now that you know that lesson, well, how do you think that will stand you for the future?
It made me more vigilant of my surroundings now, because I could just be sitting out there talking to my friends, and my future boss could be right there next to me listening to my conversations. So,
so I'm glad that you know that. Now you have to watch your words. Be careful, little tongue, what you say.
Exactly.
All of those little things make a big difference. So how many people were at your table?
I think around 7.
7 of you.
Yes.
And so when the mentor said, Adenike, it's you, we'd like you to present for us. Talk to me about what that sounded like in your ears when you were the one selected.
Honestly, I had to ask her to repeat it again. But I didn't want to let her down because she chose me. So I went up there and I did my best.
And what did you talk on?
I also talked about trying to pass my KF exams. I talked about the time limit that I will have, how to get rid of my distractions such as social media, relationships, friends, all of those sort of things. But unfortunately, parents, I'm not doing it at the moment. But I try to lock in and get it done.
You're trying at least to get it done. What inspiration do you think you are for other young girls?
I don't really see myself as much as an inspiration, but I guess me being here can show y'all that y'all can also get on here and get this scholarship to help y'all parents and to even help yourselves.
So Tara, in terms of confidence, has this process allowed you now to really step up, step on your backbone and say, I can do?
Honestly, I was able to step on my shell, and I've been trying to get into more activities, doing more things around my school. So it's really helped me get out there and be able to talk to others.
Have you shared just the news of your success with the other girls at school?
Yes, we.
And talk to me about their responses.
Well, they're very excited for me. Honestly, a lot of them were shocked because like talking in front of people, I really struggle with that, but they were very excited.
You're doing very well right now, honestly. And I wouldn't want to tell you, but you're talking before thousands, not just in Barbados, but across the world who are watching. And so you're handling it really, really well. So it just shows what's really, truly possible. It comes from you, you know, when you really put yourself out there and get it done. And you've done very, very well. Adenike now, who was the first person you told that you were successful?
I told my parents.
And their reaction? What was Daddy's reaction because he gave you your name?
He was like, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't even get that. He's the person that dropped me at it to begin. But he was very proud of me. And my mother, she was so happy. She went calling all of her friends, all of her family in St. Lucia. And I also told my friends and posted me up and tell me, congratulations, Adenike. Everyone was very happy for me.
What do you want to become?
I would like to work somewhere in the hotel management, mainly being a hotel manager, because most of my parents are in the tourism industry, so I mainly take after them.
Oh, so you want to follow in their footsteps?
Yes, please.
Did you ever not think of doing something else other than what they do?
Yes, my parents told me a lot about journalism because they told me that I'm a very outgoing person and I can talk very well and speak to persons very well. So that can be a field that I would
Can
get
be.
into.
Why don't you? As well. You can do both, you know.
It's both at the same time.
And that's the whole point, Ms. Flats.
Yes.
You know, the women are not limited today at all by their gender at all.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And we can do multiple things. You know, women, we are multifaceted. We have multiple skills. So why not utilize it to monetize ourselves and, you know, make a difference in different areas?
How did you go about getting these young ladies to be a part of the process to begin with?
So we typically invite 50 girls from different secondary schools between the ages of 15 and 18, girls who are transitioning into adulthood, to be part of the workshop. And we were grateful to have many schools represented that day and to have these young ladies. Also, these scholarships were made possible by our partnership as with Scotiabank Barbados. They are our core partners and they are interested very much in the development of girls in Barbados. So we are really happy to have them supporting the work that we do and having these girls come on board as well.
Wow. So you see the possibilities and what the expectations as well from you ladies. You're those leaders at your age already, and we know that you have the potential, each of you, to become further leaders in the future. And so I'm immensely proud of both of you, honestly. You speak well, you comport well to begin with, and there's something very, very special about you. Boy, am I happy for you today. Honestly, I truly, truly am, you know, and that's great. To know that you've come through the program and have been successful says a lot about who you are. And it now is required of you to help others as you go. So would you encourage other girls from your school or who live in your area, who go to church with you? You go to church, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. You know, to consider being a part of this?
Definitely. I've been trying to encourage my friends to really step out there and go and try the program because I really enjoyed it. And I would like the opportunity to go next year and encourage others.
Nice indeed. One of you, Adenike, let me somebody go to church. I knew that was going to be your answer. Talk to me now. What would you say to the other girls?
I would really recommend y'all to get into this. It's a very fun activity. You can get to meet new persons. I myself has met new persons. And I mainly try to invite my friends to come, but unfortunately, most of us won't be at the age to go next year. But I will go and help those children that are going to be there next year, help them to be comfortable, help them to understand the goals that they can reach with this.
Excellent indeed. How do you feel about St. Michael's School Beating Foundation?
Girl. Honestly, all I can say is that we did try our best in the girls, and I'm very proud of the girls regardless. So big up foundation.
And Satira taught her.
Not too much. Don't push it.
I'm telling you, these ladies are so fun indeed. Again, well done.
Thank you.
Very well done. You're very welcome. I'm sure your parents are so immensely, both of you, very, very proud of you. I am very proud of you. You don't even mind. So you can imagine how it feels on some of these flats. Again, to your organization, well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm sure Scotiabank will continue to support
Of
this.
course, Scotiabank has been our partner for many years, and within the next 2 months, actually, on the 30th of May, we have our financial literacy workshop, and Scotiabank is our core partner for that event as well. And we'll be inviting more girls, 50 girls. So if you're listening, sign up. Schools, sign up your girls, and if you're outside of school and you're willing to sign up as well, please do.
How can they?
So they can directly check our website, which is www.iamagirl.ngo. Contact us through that medium, and you'll definitely get a response.
All right. iamagirl.ngo. Parents, sign up your girls. You can tell. These are glowing examples of what's possible indeed. And so it's possible from your child as well. So don't hold them back. Allow them to self-actualize as well. Yes. Let them be. Let them be. The girls are now the leaders of the world. Isn't that so?
Yep.
Strange. Nonetheless. Well, well done to each of you. Thank you so much for joining me on Morning Barbados. Good to meet you all. Good to meet you. Now tell others about the show, okay?
Yes,
share it with your friends, share it with your friends, share it with your friends. All right? Okay. Morning Barbados comes back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome to St. Thomas.
I've seen a lot of places around the world and far apart. But deep inside, there's only one that's closest to my heart. Wherever I may lay my head, no matter where I roam, Barbados will always be home. I love the open spaces. What a feeling to be free. I see I'm smiling faces. Oh, they mean the world to me. A place with friends, our family. A place to stand alone. Barbados will always be. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock. Sometimes the way we do it can really be inspiring or not. It can be uplifting or not. And it's all of those kinds of things. When we find ourselves wrapped into a culture, a way of doing things, we can find ourselves at times not being the smartest or the most efficient. So how do we kill the culture vulture? That's the question right now. Because it can really, really eat into who you are, and sometimes it's difficult to break, and you don't break through in the way that you want to break through. Well, there is someone who can help us knock that wall down, and her name is Cordell Williams-Graham. She is a change management consultant with Transformational Life Solutions. Good morning to you, Miss Williams-Graham.
Yes, good morning, Pearson. Thank you so much for having me.
It's our immense pleasure having you indeed, because you're helping us now with the subject area I think that most businesses need to be able to tackle, because we get stuck in a particular culture, and so when the change is required of us, we don't know how to do it. And so you have been able to be the one with the big axe that cut down that tree, the culture vulture. And so talk to me first of all, what do you see to be the culture vulture?
All right, so for me, Pearson, the culture vulture, as you mentioned at the start there, that culture is about, the way we do things, the way we think in organizations, the way we make decisions, the way we work. It's really about that, right? The way we go about our day to day. And so the culture vulture, in terms of how we go about transforming our organizations, change is the only constant in an organization. And so, you are trying to roll out new processes, new systems to drive your strategy on a regular basis. And just the way we go about doing that introduces the vulture, as I like to put it. Peter Drucker once said, change is your strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so we are trying to achieve our strategies, through the rollout of new systems, new processes, new business models that we have to do even more now than ever. We are coming out of COVID and we saw the impact of that. And right behind that, we have brain drain, artificial intelligence. And so if we're going to achieve the success and the sustainability that we're seeking, the benefits from this strategy, we're going to have to change the way we do change. The way we are going about rolling out the change is what is eating away at the results that we're trying to achieve. And so that really is the crux of it, the culture vulture. And because change is the constant, it's vulturizing, it's devouring the success and the sustainability of businesses, especially right here in the Caribbean.
So who is the one to tackle the vulture? Is it the HR? Is it the CEO? Is it you or me, the supervisor? Who's the one to tackle this vulture?
Right. Well, that's a very good question. It's a holistic approach. It's an approach that is collaborative, but it must be led from the top. Right. When we think about, the vulture, as I put it, we have to ensure that, we have persons who are equipped, to drive the change and to lead the change. These are some of the ways that the vulture introduces itself in terms of the mistakes that we normally make when we're rolling out change. So, for example, forgetting that, people drive change is one of the mistakes. And, from a leadership standpoint, you're not being cognizant of the fact that people are the ones that are going to use the change. People are the ones that are going to make the recommendations. People are the ones that are going to sustain the change for the long haul. That's a common mistake that the vulture introduces, and leaders have to recognize this. Another mistake that is introduced is in terms of, forgetting how that people don't have the capacity in some instances to respond to the multiplicity of changes that we just must do, especially in these times. So capacity in terms of being able to adapt to the change, first and foremost. When you have 100 things happening that must happen to drive the strategy, it's important to understand how to give persons that culture of resilience to be able to fight through that and to cope with that. And also the leaders, you mentioned who is responsible. It's going to take leadership at the top. It's going to take leadership at the, the middle management level. And it's going to take leadership, even informal leaders like our influencers in the organization that are going to be able to, empower people and inspire people to adapt to the changes. So that's another area in terms of who is going to guide the change. Additionally, as well, from a HR standpoint, being able to, manage risk. People introduce risk in any change. People have their concerns, your personal concerns, professional concerns, organizational concerns, and these things really impact how people are able to, open up to the change and accept the change that you're introducing. And so from a HR standpoint, it's important that, HR professionals and leaders, project leaders are equipped with the data to understand all of these concerns. It's not a matter of coming in and saying, okay, let's make persons aware of the change. Let's give them the knowledge to use, for example, a system, for example, but ensuring that you understand what it will take to eliminate the risk, the resistance risks that we are often faced with. We see the protests, we see persons sometimes in some cases sabotaging, a new system that is rolled out, or, just ultimately resisting, not wanting to participate. And so you really have to begin to, understand, what are some of those concerns. So those are just some of the ways in which, change can be led. And because of the culture vulture, forgetting that people are at the center of change, we are not able to, really lead the change effectively in some instances. But it's a collaborative approach, definitely.
That word that you kept using, I love it, people. Because oftentimes leaders forget the people in the process. And so not to get confused, because one, the process is important, yes, but the people are the one who drive the process change that you're looking for. Part of it, to my mind, also is in being able to assess it as it goes, because the little gremlins, the termites can seep in. And if you're trying to cement a culture of change, if you're trying to cement the culture for success, unless you monitor it very carefully, you will find that it can erode without your even knowing.
Yes, and I like the point that you made, and this is why, I'm very excited about what my company is doing now. We have partnered with global change management giant Change First Limited in the UK to bring a people-centered implementation approach to change and transformation. So it's really just like you said, Pearson, understanding that, the level of buy-in, the level of commitment varies from time to time. As you roll out your new modernization initiatives or your new change initiatives, more information becomes, as more information becomes available to people, you will find that the level of buy-in, level of commitment varies from time to time. And so with a data-centered approach, just recognizing that people are at the center first and foremost, and recognizing that you have to keep track and tabs on how they're responding to change. What is the level of impact? What is the level of buy-in? Being able to measure and track that from time to time throughout the transformation process is very crucial, and is at the crux of approaching change from a people-centered standpoint. This will help you to, eliminate risks. Of course, as I mentioned, the resistance risk allow you to be more agile, because your strategy is now data-centered and it's not built on a hunch. So you're responding based on your findings, based on how people are responding to the change. And certainly, as a crucial crux of the matter, we talk about just transition a lot in the Caribbean now, ensuring that nobody is left behind. Being able to measure how the different groups, the different segments of people that are impacted by change, how they're responding to change, how they feel about the change, can really give you the insights that are necessary to drive the change effectively and ensure that you get the results from the strategy.
I'm here smiling because you're hitting all the points that I wanted to raise with you. You're so right. Because sometimes in gathering the data, we get a numerical understanding. But beneath that, our cultural, also using the word again, cultural and personal understandings that one must also attain. And sometimes in our response to it, where we sit as managers and HR practitioners, we tend to think that training, that word we love to throw everything, training would fix that surely. And sometimes training is not the salve that we're looking for. So to those listening this morning and they're seeking to really kill that culture vulture that they have, and they're trying to fix it, what do you suggest to them as should be the approach to training?
Right. Okay. Well, certainly, as I mentioned, yes, training is a part of it. But training, like I mentioned, cannot be driven by a hunch, right? So, we have this approach where we're saying, let's, give them the knowledge as to how to use the solution. So our training tends to be solution focused. So we want to equip persons with how to use a new system. We want to educate them on the policy, the process, right? So that is normally how we drive our training and our sensitization. But like I'm saying, it has to be a data-driven approach. If you're putting people at the center, if you're really cognizant of the fact that, people drive change, and with people injected into transformation, you will recognize that you have to tap into and understand what can help them to buy in so that you can eliminate the risks. So approach, before you even get into, okay, what's the training strategy? What's your communication strategy? You really need to tap into that data-centered approach. And, through our partnership with Change First, we have what we call the Roadmap Pro. So that's a roadmap. It's a system that helps to equip you with the roadmap to success, right? So with that solution, we are able to help our clients to understand, what to tap in, as you said, Pearson, to the cultural concerns, the personal concerns, the organizational gremlins, like you mentioned, right? The vultures that could potentially introduce the risk to your transformation program, because otherwise what you have is a whole suite of modernization and no transformation, which is driven by people. And another very crucial point that we have to recognize is that, change is about behavior, right? At the end of the day, you roll out a system, you roll out a new policy, it impacts the way people, work. They have to change their mindset, they have to adjust, the way they do things, their values, their dreams, everything has to change in some instances. And so, being able to drive that behavior change, you also have to recognize that it's not just about training. It's also about ensuring that you're incentivizing, that behavior change. You have the performance management frameworks worked out. So it's a really holistic approach. But at the end of the day, Pearson, it's driven by recognizing that people are at the center of your transformation. It's not just about modernization. It's at the center of transformation, and people drive that. And tapping into the data, giving you a data centric approach that allows you to get the insights that you need to really drive a successful strategy towards your transformation and your strategic success is really the way to go.
So true. But leaders cannot just sit on the sidelines. You have to be a part of it as well. It can't be where you're saying, you guys need to change, you guys need to do this and try that, whatever the case may be, and then you just sit and watch and collect data. It can't be as simple as that. You have to be involved and lead by example. One must, to my mind, and I'm not preaching at you, sorry if it seems that way, but one must also seem to be equally invested in the outcome that one is seeking to achieve.
I'm glad you raised that point. And, like you mentioned, behavior, people model. You have to have models, persons who, model the behavior that you want to see. And so even in our approach, it is really centered around first equipping leaders at the organizational and the top level to really get persons to collaboratively, develop a vision for the change that everyone can buy into. But certainly it's led from the top. And it's led from, as I mentioned earlier, from the middle management level. So it's a leadership approach, middle managers, the influencers in the organization, the people that don't have the title, but really drive the change, right? Yes. That collaborative leadership effort, we ensure that those leaders are equipped with the know-how to first of all drive that vision, get persons to collaborate in that vision. They are equipped with the know-it-all to gather and analyze the data, and they are equipped with the strategy to build the different initiatives and the different interventions rather that will drive you through to success. So yes, they can't sit on the sidelines, but with the right data, it's like bullets killing the culture vulture. They will be equipped with the bullets to certainly kill the culture vulture.
I could sit here and talk to you all day long, but I really can't. This is such a fascinating subject. It's really fascinating subject, I think, and it really is important that if you lead, if you're part of an organization, you want to really change the culture, you've got to tackle the vulture. And so that's what you've been able to do and what you continue to do as a change management consultant and chief executive officer of Transformational Life Solutions. And I know you were recently a part of HR Disrupt.
Yes.
And so you made presentations to the folks at HR Disrupt.
That's correct.
And I'm really hopeful that we see the change in the culture vulture that we're talking about here. If there's anyone watching and who wants to reach out to you to get further insight into your thought process and the things that you do to help with that transformation, how can they do so?
Right. So thank you for that, Pearson. Yes, I was a part of Disrupt HR. Many big ups to Julie Turney, the leader of that initiative. And certainly, in terms of getting through to us, you can contact us at www.transformationallifesolutions.com. Or you can call us at 876-238-2418 or info@transformationallifesolutions.com. And, we're very excited, Pearson. Like I mentioned, my company partners with global giant Change First Limited. We are the exclusive regional partner bringing the people-centered approach to change management to the Caribbean. And I'm very excited. I was heartened by the response of the organizations attending Disrupt HR, and I'm really looking forward to doing some work there in Barbados.
Nice.
So look out for me.
We're looking out for you. We are looking out for you. Thank you so much, Cordell Williams Graham, Change Management Consultant and Chief Executive Officer of Transformational Life Solutions. Online, there are transformationallifesolutions.com, and she's ready. She and her team are ready to transform the way we do business, to transform our cultures within organizations, to put people at the center of it all, and to tackle that vulture once and for all. Thank you so much for joining us. All the best to you. You're very welcome. We'll take a break right here on Morning Barbados. We're back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Matthew?
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 29530, First Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Colligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club, we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
28 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock. I have another riddle that is going to put you into a wrap up. It's going to wrap you up in just a moment. What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? I'll say it again. What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? Call me now, 228-5562 or 228-5563. I am telling you, you are not going to get this right. It will take you forever. What English word has 3 consecutive double letters? Call me and interrupt me. I dare you. Call me now, 228-5562 or 228-5563. March has pretty much come to an end. Today is the 31st of March. Would you believe it? So St. Thomas, thank you for a month full of activities. Oh, we have a caller. Somebody is so bold. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, wonderful to hear. Who's calling and where are you watching from?
My name is Waveney. Right now I'm in St. Thomas.
Daisy of St. Thomas?
Yes, please.
Hi, Daisy. You well today?
Waveney.
Waveney. Am I right?
Yes, please.
Okay, Waveney of St. Thomas. Oh, so Waveney, you had a whole month of activities. How was it for you?
I live in St. Joseph, but I am in St. Thomas right now.
Oh, you are in St. Thomas at the moment, but you're
Yes,
from
please.
St. Joseph. All right, we'll talk about St. Joseph in just a moment. So where in St. Joseph are you from, by the way, Waveney?
I'm from Coconut Grove.
Coconut Road?
Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove. Okay, Waveney. All right, so I know you want to get off the phone fast. What's your answer?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. All right, let's do this together. M-I-S-S-I.
I-P-P.
I. MISSIPPI. I want a word that has 3 consecutive double letters. In other words, Waveney, that's not the word.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Coconut Grove, is that a place in St. Joseph for real? This man is Matthew Hinkson. He's a chairman of the St. Joseph Parish Organizing Committee. Where exactly is that?
Coconut Grove? Put me on the spot. Put me on the spot.
Give me
a general area. I would say the general area. Put me on the spot, boy. You know. So what? This is what I would say to that. Is that there's so many. I've been in St. Joseph 31 years.
Okay.
And there's so many parts of St. Joseph that I'm still not fully familiar with.
So imagine me.
Yeah.
Who has never lived in St. Joseph.
Yeah.
There's still so many areas of St. Joseph we have to get to know.
Yeah.
And so in the month of April, that's our opportunity, right?
Definitely.
To get to know.
Definitely.
And so are you looking forward to what you guys have to do?
Very much so. Very much so. And in alignment with your question just now, we actually have a parish-wide scavenger hunt where we're going to be going to about 10 different locations all around the parish to assist persons with that very question. Where is Coconut Grove? Where is Paris Hill? Where is, Horse Hill? Where is Parks Road?
If you live there, you know it.
Yeah.
Or you'll figure it out.
Or you figure
it's
it
for
out.
us who don't live there to come figure it out,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Come into St. Joseph and get lost.
Correct.
And a lot of times, me, guilty as charged, we know this side of Barbados.
Yeah.
And you're coming down the highway, you're thinking, but which roundabout do I come off at to get into St. Joseph?
Yeah.
Which roundabout do I come off at to get into St. Joseph?
Multiple roundabouts.
Really? So each of these roundabouts here, near to me, will take me to St. Joseph?
Yeah. So the one short down here, after you pass...
after the Bassa one, the next one down?
The next one down. You turn off, like if you're going to Salters, into St. George.
And just drive straight?
You pass Tower Bridge and you continue going up.
Really?
That straight road takes you to St. Joseph.
Okay. And if I come to the one at Warren's?
Warren's, you go through the back by Kingwood. That will take you across the dwellings. You make the left by the playing field.
Right.
And you go into St. Joseph.
And I'm going... Okay. Cool.
All roads lead to St. Joseph.
I hear you. You would say that because you're from
All
St.
roads lead to
Joseph.
St. Joseph.
All roads lead to St. Joseph.
Correct.
And so from April the 1st, it's your turn.
Correct.
So give us a sense broadly. What's your theme, by the way?
Adventure.
Adventure?
Our theme is adventure.
Why? How do you see that playing out?
Well, when you think about St. Joseph, you think about hiking, you think about hills and so on. Many persons, including locals, go to the countryside to experience the breeze, the ambience, the cyclers, the hikers, the surfers. As you know, we have surfing going on now in Bathsheba.
Yes.
So we're known for a lot of those adventurous type activities. So I saw it fitting.
Listen, I had an adventure, I must tell you. My production crew will bear me up on this. We were coming live from Mornin Barbados at Cocoa Hill Forest.
Okay.
Love the area. Love it.
Yeah.
Getting there early in the morning was a nightmare. I was following the video sent to me by my technical director.
Okay.
And then he decided to cut off the video because he assumed that I figured it out from there. I ended up in dark hole.
Whoa.
So that's how bad it was.
Okay.
And he's asking me in my ear if I don't get time to tell that story. No, I don't. Because there was in dark hole going down the hill, and I'm figuring, where is this? Because it's all misty.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, but I'm sure this cannot be it.
Yeah.
I had to call and they came rescue me.
Okay.
That's all right. But get lost, discover. You
Correct.
discover as you go, because now I know where dark hole is, now I know where Cocoa Hill Forest is, and now I know what Cocoa Hill Forest also offers.
Right. Beautiful.
That's one word that's really nice. Beautiful indeed.
Beautiful.
So all month long in St. Joseph, we are going to be exploring and being adventurous. We're just going to find everything that's out. So tell me, what can I expect activity by activity in the month?
Well, of course, we're going to start with our church service. That's going to be on the 6th of April. We have a little pre-launch to that Naniki Festival on the 5th of April, just to launch our pollination drive, which we will get to a little later. But our first official event is the church service on the 6th, and that is themed Thankful for the Harvest, right? So we saw that title fitting too, because as you know, from February to May thereabout is the harvest season for sugarcane and so on. And St. Joseph being one of the parishes with many fields of sugarcane and various crops. And then not only thankful for the harvest of crops, but the harvest of people right? The whole theme of regathering, bringing back into the diaspora into the island of Barbados. So we're saying thankful for the harvest on those two fronts.
Right.
And we're inviting all those coming out to that church service starting at 9:30 in the morning.
At St. Anne's.
At St. Anne's Anglican Church. And we're asking persons to bring produce to be placed on the altar.
Real harvest?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, you used to do that back in the day in churches, right?
You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? The whole altar will be filled with
Do you still do
produce and
that?
so on.
No.
That's why we're bringing it back, though. That's why we're bringing it back, right? So it's all about the nostalgic Barbados. Things that we once did, and for some reason we don't do it anymore. Right? So we're inviting persons to come out and bring their produce as we bless it, and then later on in the afternoon we'll be giving back to the community those same very produce.
Nice. And that's what most churches will do with their harvest festivals. So you
Correct.
bring the produce and then they give it to those who are in need.
Correct.
And so that's happening on the 6th of April.
Yeah.
St. Anne's Anglican Church is where they're going to be, and they're
Correct.
encouraging all St. Josephians and all Barbados really to come down and worship with you as well.
Correct.
But most of all to explore. St. Joseph has so many beautiful scenes really along the coastline. You know, you see so much, and then as you drive in further in, all the vegetation that is there is really lush and really, really beautiful. I think it's important that people take the time to do so.
Very much so.
So that's on the 6th of April. Of course, on the day before, you're having the Naniki Jazz Festival there in that area.
Correct.
And you're doing your pollination
drive.
What's that?
So we've partnered with Andromeda Gardens, where they're very big on pollination, and there's a butterfly called the monarch butterfly, right? So back in the day too, I mean I'm young, but back in the day, at schools and so on, when you go at lunch or break time, you see a bunch of butterflies. You don't see that anymore either.
No, you're
right. And why is that? Right. So we talk about biodiversity. We talk about the whole functioning of the ecological system and so on. And these are conversations that we don't have in our day-to-day because we're so busy just living life that we don't see the back-end effects of the whole biodiversity and so on. So the whole pollination drive is where we are going to be planting milkweeds cuttings, like those stems, that bring back in those same species that help to pollinate. So the bees, the monarch butterflies, the hummingbirds and so on.
That's nice. This is longevity you're talking about here.
Very
You're
much so.
being a part of it as you go.
Yeah.
And so there's the Andromeda Garden working with you. There are other organizations who are going to be working with you as well. And there are other places that you're going to be taking this. If you don't know St. Joseph well, a lot of these events are moving around the parish as well, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, please. And a big part of how we kind of went about our planning, and because we wanted to include the community, we want to include the small businesses in the area as well, the shops. The shops are where our roots are.
Where life is.
Right?
Yes.
So we're going to have a series of pop-up lines around the parish every single week where persons, again, can know where Parks Road is, they can know where Lambings is. Just go and just have a good time. Nice music, good energy, good vibes, no violence, none of that. And just especially the persons that would have once grew up in St. Joseph, come back again and see faces that you haven't seen in 10, 20 years or so.
And see the difference, explore the difference. That's also what it's also about. And for those of us who are not from St. Joseph, St. Joseph is more than Bathsheba.
Right.
There are other places in St. Joseph, and so as you move up with your pop-ups, we get to also go into the nitty-gritties of St. Joseph to see, hey, didn't know this place existed, and this is so beautiful to be here.
Correct.
And so that's what this is all about as well in the month of April, as we explore St. Joseph.
Correct.
And so it starts again with the church service, and you'll be ending, and I know we got a lot of time because the whole month, as you know how we do it on Mornin Barbados, we have Parish Fridays and we come share with you. The calendar is right there on your screen for those of you who want some finer details, so you get a sense of what is going to be unfolding in all the different locations and everything. And this is already out. You go into the website of Regathering, you'll see it right there, or you can scan the code on your screen at the moment, and it comes to you, the information, so that you can plan your days, plan your weekends, plan your path into St. Joseph. Remember, come off the roundabout, so you just drive in. Someone will guide you as you go as well. So we're looking forward to a really good month. Pat, I know that you have a Soccerama.
Yes, please.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so again, going back to nostalgic St. Joseph, once upon a time, every single week we would be having either cricket or football or some type of sports activity, whether it's on the beach or whether it is on the pasture, right? So as you rightly said, a lot of persons think that everything would be happening down in St. Joseph, but we're going to be starting in Sakarama, yes, in Bashaba area, but then we're taking it to the finals at Grantley Adams School. Again, this is to accentuate and bring out the local talents that we have within our area. So just a quick Sakarama exhibition highlighting the talent within the area, and we also had interest from neighboring parishes as well.
Of course.
Yes,
I mean, so this is going to be all, right?
I ain't know that one, but we'll see.
We shall
You're going
see.
to come out and see.
Of course you have to come out and see. So we want to encourage you all month of April, folks, to really get involved, immerse yourself into what's happening as we gather in St. Joseph and explore the whole area of St. Joseph. There's so much to enjoy. Truly, truly a lush parish, filled with excellent people and excellent food, because there's so many eateries there as well. It offers some wonderful, wonderful foods and views indeed. And so, Matthew, we're going to invite you back to Mornin Barbados, you and your team, to continue to update us on what's happening so we can keep track as it goes as well. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you as well.
So what's that English word that has 3 consecutive double letters?
I have no idea.
All right, that's not the answer. That's a good answer indeed. He has no idea.
I have no idea.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
indeed.
sir.
You're welcome. We're coming right back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 29530, first Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Colligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club, we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
17 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock. This is a story of perseverance against all odds. And I mean, there were all odds, all happening at one time in a vast ocean. Annesley Park is the one who made that historic, for me, trip across from Gran Canaria to Barbados, rowing all on her own. Good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. How are you?
Oh, good. Even better for being here now.
You know, one would stop for a moment and think, you have got to be crazy. What
Some
would
people
possess you
say.
to do that?
Some people say. I mean, I'm a former professional cyclist for the GB Olympic team. And yeah, I've done a few crazy things during my time. And then, I found myself working in the maritime industry. And I was working in Antigua, and it was COVID at the time, and I found myself just having a little walk around, and I always used to sit next to this tree and journal, and I always used to look out and think, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to be out there on my own. And I didn't have a good enough reason to sort of do it at that point. But a few years later, I thought, why not do something that collaborates everything that I've learned over the years and be able to contribute to society. So, yeah.
You know, we look at the ocean.
Yeah.
We see as far as the horizon.
Yeah.
And again, because we fly in those kinds of, we know what goes, it just goes on. Yeah. But you decided to want to do that, to just tackle that from Gran Canaria to the Caribbean, all on your own.
Yeah.
And how did you prepare to train for that? Because I'm sure there was a lot of mental training that also had to obtain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a very strong family that I come from, so they gave me a lot of strength. But there's a lot of training that gets involved with it also. I did a 2 months of intense training with the Ocean Rowing Academy, and I had to do quite a few courses. But because I'm already from the maritime industry, it's kind of not unfamiliar familiar. I've done
Yes.
4 Atlantic crossings on some big super yachts, but yeah, my boat is a tiny 6-meter ocean rowing boat with just one small cabin, so it's a little different. But yeah, I had some incredible psychology training beforehand, and yeah, I was so excited to get out there.
Was there any doubt along the way? And
So
you thought I
much
should turn
doubt.
right back?
So much doubt. I mean, yeah, I mean, within the first 6 hours of my expedition, I capsized the boat. Yeah, so that was a bit of a wake-up call, and I thought it was over within the first 6 hours. But no, it was all good. The boat turned back up. I got back in, and I carried on. And yeah, during the way, there was a lot of self-doubt, but you know, I wanted to face a lot of fears. I wanted to face a lot of things that I'd gone through that I wanted to be able to sort out with Mother Nature, and she taught me a huge amount.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Within 6 hours, she taught you one thing for sure.
She did.
And so, did you see the wave coming that caused the boat to capsize?
Yeah, so I was coming out of the lee of the island, and I had about 30-mile-an-hour winds, and I could see big white caps in the distance, and I was trying to get to a certain waypoint, and I could see them. I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm going to have to go into that. And so I had waves coming over, but yeah, I saw one that kind of came over and crashed just after, but I saw the next one behind, and I just knew that I wasn't able to make it. So yeah, I had to let go of my oars and hold on, and I tried to put my weight as much as I could into the wave, but it was just too big. So it flipped over, I fell into the water, and I surfaced, and I had to wait for the boat to roll back over. But luckily everything was tied on.
Yes.
The cabin was a mess, but yeah, I informed my land team, and they said, you know, you can either put yourself on power anchor or you can carry on rowing. So I put myself on power anchor. I took a minute because I was severely seasick as well.
I could imagine.
And yeah, I had a few hours to just sort of recuperate and get myself together, get warm again. And then about 1 o'clock in the morning, I pulled my power anchor in, which is an anchor that just stops you from really going anywhere. And yeah, pulled that back in and then went again. So yeah, it was just an amazing process to be in.
Was it a life flashing? You saw everything flash before you in just that one moment?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was a moment of just like, I really hope my lifeline is connected to the boat right now.
Yes, indeed.
Which it was, thank goodness.
And so you got over that hurdle, and off you go.
Yeah.
And were there any other obstacles along the way that caused you again to have to really think outside of the box?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I went in February, so I started on the 1st of February, and I really wanted some big conditions, you know, big sea states, but I wasn't expecting the sea states that I got.
Yes.
You know, I had a northwesterly swell that kind of came in, which was not in my favour, and I had some unfavourable wind conditions as well, but the sheer amount of water I was not expecting. So that was a big part. It took about 3 weeks for me to get used to. But yeah, I had tankers that didn't see me, and one of my radios was broken, so I couldn't receive any communication. So yeah, I had a handheld radio, and there's a few tankers that I had a few misses with, especially at night time when you kind of bobbing up and down and you see them but they didn't see you. So yeah, again, my land team were really good with being able to sort of help me out and knowing whether I should shoot a flare just so that they can see me. But yeah, I had a marlin stalk my boat as well. And marlins, what they do is they like to stalk the fish that are underneath, and sometimes instead of whacking the fish, they whack your boat. Yeah, so yeah, we've had a few interesting moments.
Okay, apart from those moments with the trawlers and so, how do you deal with night? Because again, it's all darkness around. You know, just the stars perhaps for some company. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, it was. There was some moments, especially at night time, when it was really big and you just had huge dumps of water onto the deck. But at the same time, you know, there was nights where the moon was out, and you know, it was amazing. It felt so special to be there, and the shooting stars were just incredible. And it was just, sometimes you'd turn your nav light off and you'd look up and you'd be like, wow, I'm in this incredible space. And you're always reminded that you're a guest out there. So when you feel you can switch off, she gives you a little shake up and says, switch on. So yeah, there was never a moment where I could switch off, but every moment, whether it was good or bad, was such a gift to be able to experience.
How did the pace and factor in rest?
Yeah, it was really difficult. I had a sort of routine that I tried to stick to, but because of the weather conditions, I had to kind of adapt to that. But I tried to get a rest in between midnight and 5 a.m. So yeah, but you know, you still have to, when you're asleep, you still have to make sure you're on course.
Right.
And you have an autopilot, which it doesn't have any sort of power as such. It just sort of moves the rudder so you can stay on course. So every sort of hour I'd wait, I'd ping one eye open, I'd have a little look, and if I was off course, I'd just adjust it a little bit. But yeah, to be honest, it was just, you could never really sleep. So the tiredness was one of the hardest things that I struggled with. Yeah, there were days where I cried. I was that tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still with the tears, I can't turn back. I
Absolutely.
just have to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, there was quite a few moments I remember, but there was just one moment where I was 1,003 miles out, and I'd been going slow for a little while, and I couldn't get in the water for a few weeks because I needed to go under the hull and scrape the barnacles off, but I couldn't go in there because the sea state was too bad. Anyway, I knew that there was a kind of a lull in the sea state for a little while, but it was still, 2.5 meters. It was still crashing, and I was like, oh. And one morning I woke up and I was doing 1.5 knots when I should have been doing around about 3.5 knots. And I knew that it was because of the barnacles, but I didn't know how I was going to get in without getting whacked on the head with my boat. So it took me all day to pick up the courage to not look at what was going on, but just get under the boat, scrape the hull, and know that I was going to be able to do 3 knots. So yeah, that took some courage to be able to get in there. And I'd got in the water quite a few times before and had not really had an issue, but it's the fact that the sea state was so big, and I was just like, I just want to be going 3 knots. But yeah, I managed to get in, I scraped the hull, and I was doing 3 knots, and that was the best feeling and most relieved feeling I've ever had.
I can imagine. But we've grown accustomed as humans, We have 3 meals a day, you get up and you go into the kitchen and you do this, you do that, and you have your meals, and then you get on with your life.
Yeah.
How did you deal with hunger or eating?
Yeah, I mean, the first week was hard because of the seasickness. And then you kind of get used to moving with and getting water on you and trying to cook, meals and managing that and not losing anything over the side. So yeah, it takes a minute to just understand how to do it. But yeah, to be honest, I really look forward to having the hot meals, and I was cold for quite a few weeks because you're always wet, whether you're in the cabin or out the cabin. But yeah, your taste buds change as well. And I was trying to consume around about 4,500 calories a day, but that was quite difficult. So yeah.
We're showing some folks some video of your moments before and after your experience as well. But
okay.
And so as you are approaching land now, the day that you spotted land, talk to me about that, what it meant for you.
Oh my goodness me. Wow, what a blissful moment. And I started the day early. I started at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and I had a southerly swell and a southerly wind, and I was coming off course. I was so like, I'm 30 miles off, I'm coming off course, like no. So I had to really fight to get back on course. And then and it was, quite a big sea state, and I was about 14 miles off, and I thought, where's the land? And then I could see the land, and I was just like, I cried with happiness. And then you have to kind of break it in stages, and I knew that once I was going to get towards the north point, it was going to be a really tough moment, and it was either going to make or break my race. And so I was just getting to my last waypoint, which is on the north part of the island, and I could see a squall coming through on the south side of the island, and I saw a massive one coming in right behind me, and I knew that I needed to be quite close to land because I didn't want to get into this northerly current which was coming onto the west side, or coming from the west side of the island, and there was a boat that was going to come out and meet me, to just guide me in and sort of show me where the reefs are. And this squall came through, and it was massive, and I was getting pushed out, but actually what I thought was going to break my race saved me. It saved me so much because it was big and it was windy, but I managed to get further into land, and then it flattened, and there was this rainbow that came up, which there's a story to why I see rainbows, and yeah, I was just so grateful to have that. And I came in, and there was these kids that I'd been hearing of for a little while on my social media, and there's this special girl called Eve, and yeah, I heard them in the distance, and oh man, the turnout when I got there was just more than I could have ever imagined. Wow. And the hospitality with Pier 1, where in Port St Charles, was just incredible, and my family were there, which I wasn't expecting, and oh yeah, just it was the best moment I've ever had in my entire life.
You've done it. You've done it. How many hours did it take you to sail across, or how many days?
It took me 54 days, 14 hours and 18 minutes, I think.
54 days?
54 days.
You are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You are amazing indeed. Me? 54 days? No, sister. I couldn't do that at all. But it is so good to meet you. It's so good to know that you've been able to achieve this.
Thank you.
And so now you but you did it for a cause. What's the cause?
I did, yeah. So there was two reasons really. So one, to contribute to society, and that was to raise money for 4 charities that have had a huge impact in my life. I'm trying to raise about £300,000 for those charities. So yeah, that's one part. And then the other part is to really show my generation and future generations that, you know, you can really achieve anything you want to if you put your mind to it. And it's about resilience. It's about what resilience means, because I had a really terrible understanding of what resilience was about, and I really wanted to go into that sort of human performance side, the psychology, mental, emotional, social, environmental, cultural understanding of that. And I really want to be able to go into schools and go into the education and change the way we think about and how we approach resilience, and how we approach, you know, feeling fear and being able to move forward with courage. So yeah, I think I needed to be able to put that into practice for me to be able to tell my story and say, yeah, like this is how I've done it, and if you want to follow it and you want to find your purpose in life, then I'd love to help.
She's available indeed. The things that drive you are phenomenal. Taking on the fear, overcoming that fear, persevering through that fear, and achieving at the same time, and now being able to tell the tale is tremendous indeed. And so, Annesley Park, you are amazing.
Thank you.
Well done indeed. And you're still in your 20s, I believe, right?
I'm 28, yeah.
See? She's still in her 20s, still quite young. And there's still so much for you to accomplish and to achieve and to overcome.
Yeah.
And you've been able to at least have this checked off, that you can say, I've traveled from Gran Canaria to Barbados all on my own, took on that big old ocean out there and beat it. And so you did it indeed. So well done. So Barbados celebrates you.
Thank you. I mean, I honestly want to say thank you to everyone, especially people in Barbados, who have just been so welcoming. I've had the best time here so far.
Wonderful indeed. Thank you so much for coming indeed.
Thank you.
Best of luck for all of your future endeavors.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Now, I told you it was a story of inspiration, and now you know. You've heard the story yourself. We all can too. And so if Annesley is one of those who inspires you, just reach out to her. She'll be happy to come inspire you as well by her story. We'll take a break. We're coming back in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 29530, first Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Holligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club, we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared is a problem halved, but not everyone has someone they can confide in. That's why Lifeline Barbados exists, to be there for you or someone you care about during tough times. Save this number. Lifeline Barbados is just a call away. Remember, you can reach out whenever you need to talk.
Did you know that there is an acronym called PASS which makes it very easy to use a fire extinguisher? P, which stands for pull the pin. A, which means aim at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. And another S, which means sweep from left to right. This allows you to effectively extinguish a fire.
Jesus Christ loves you, and greater love hath no man. Because of his love, he opens the way. He opens eyes, ears, and minds. Open your heart and experience General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and feel his love. Greater love.
Welcome to St. Thomas.
I've seen a lot of places around the world and far apart. But deep inside, there's only one that's closest to my heart. Wherever I may lay my head, no matter where I roam, Barbados will always be home. I love the open spaces. What a feeling to be free. I see our smiling faces. Oh, they mean the world to me. A place with friends, our family. A place to stand alone. Barbados will always be home. Barbados, yeah. Barbados, Barbados will always be home.
The Prime Minister's Office welcomes you to the St. Thomas Ideas Forum, Wednesday, March 26 at 6:30 p.m. at the Rock Hall, Freedom Park. This is your chance to come together and share your ideas for the future of St. Thomas and Barbados. Submit your ideas to ideasforum@barbados.gov.bb or find us on WhatsApp at 256-4646. Come out and let's gather and share our ideas for a better St. Thomas and Barbados.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer 295 Turden, First Vice President of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club.
Hi, I'm Fire Officer Holligan, Secretary of the Barbados Fire Service Sports and Social Club. The Barbados Fire Service is celebrating 70 years. Come celebrate with us. The club, we are hosting football, cricket, and road tennis. Hope to see you there.
Hey there, it's Mahalia. I want to share something that might be really helpful. If you're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, depressed, or lonely, and have no one to talk to, call Lifeline Barbados. We all face struggles at times in our lives. You're not alone. There's no need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. It's okay to reach out for support. Lifeline Barbados is completely confidential. No one else will know you called. They're there to offer a caring ear and guidance without judgment. And fellas, I want you to know asking for help is a true sign of strength. It takes real courage to reach out. You can also call Lifeline Barbados if you're worried about loved ones who are struggling and you need advice on how to support them. There's a saying, a problem shared